Hello, everybody. Welcome to the studio of Carini Arts. I am Michael, and this is Baraska. You want to give me five? Got five? You're really not going to do it because we're on air? Five? Thank you. That was nice of you. Only had to ask you like a handful of times. So, so before we get started, next week, Easter Sunday is going to be my birthday, but it's also Braska's birthday, and it's also Little Pete's birthday. So we're going to have a little birthday extravaganza. If you want, you can PayPal, Venmo us, make a donation on my shop at Carini Arts, and it'll go towards the party fund for the girls ultimately because I don't need anything for myself. But so check out CariniArts.com for much more. And today I wanted to dive into how my art and pursuing my passion have ultimately been the greatest tools for treating my depression and managing my mental health. And so there's a lot of different directions this talk could go. And I guess I should backtrack and say that I've always had these battles. And when I was younger, didn't have a choice. So I was medicated and did all the things that I thought I was supposed to do because you are led to believe that you have to do things a certain way. You have to go to the doctor, you have to take medication, you have to do what your parents tell you and whatnot. And then you become an adult and you just continue those patterns on and then you pass those along. And if that works for you, nothing wrong with that. I pass no judgment. There's a different path for every single person. And so I should preface all of this by saying that I am just sharing my experience and I am sharing the experience with the hope of just opening up a dialogue, not necessarily trying to coerce anybody to subscribe to my methods or anything like that. I think that everybody should do what is best for them. So there is no pill shaming here. There is no this is the way or that is the way. There is no invalidation of the medical system or anything like that. Like I'm not trying to take away anybody's job or anything like that. I'm just sharing my personal experience in the way that I have felt. So this is just my opinion. So went through those processes and never really did much for me. I still felt incomplete. I still felt empty, but I did all the things, and then you do the things that you're told to do, and you still feel empty, and you think, oh God, this is just who I am. I'm just this way. And I hit a point in 2019. So I've hit a few like really low points, the point of giving up, but 2019 was a point of giving up in a different way in the sense that I was holding on to a job in addition to living my dream as an artist. So I was kind of trying to balance the two because I believed that it was the way to be pragmatic and practical about going about it because I didn't want to make poor decisions and I wanted to make sure that I was being fiscally responsible. But I was miserable. I had less money than ever before, and it didn't make sense to me because I do make well, to an extent. In many ways, I make good choices. In some cases, I absolutely self-sabotage and I'm completely culpable, but that's a conversation for a different time or maybe in a bit. But I had made the right decisions in terms of the pursuit of my dream. In my gut, I knew that I was, but in my gut, I also knew that something was missing. And so 2019, I was at the point of giving up and I decided, you know what? I'm just done with this. And if I'm just done with life, then why don't I at least make one effort? Why don't I make one effort to go after what I really want and to just do it my way? Just to say, fuck the system, I'm going to just do this my way. And so I did. I got rid of my job. I got rid of the illusion of security that came with the 401k and the health coverage and whatnot and all that. And it was terrifying in a sense because you are really you have it beat in and ingrained in you that you need these things. Of course, like you have an accident, you like, yeah, it's nice to have medical coverage. It's nice to be able to go to a doctor. But I can tell you that I haven't been to a doctor since 2015. And right now, at the point of turning 39, I'm actually, in my opinion, the healthiest and best I have ever been. So 2019, I left all these things. I started focusing on my dream, and I noticed that each day I started to feel, in a sense, obviously there were obstacles along the way. So I'm not going to say like it was a linear path because it's never a linear path. But in a sense, I started to at least each day have a greater sense of awareness. And at first, it was quite daunting. It was overwhelming because I started realizing that, you know what, I might be exactly where I am because of the decisions that I make. And it might not have anything to do with all of these other things. So I really had to learn to dive deep into myself. But in removing myself from this system, and many of the facets of it, I was able to start having these conversations with myself. I was able to dive into these things, to recognize that I didn't need those things and that I could do things my own way. And that I was constantly making bullshit excuses because it was easier to make excuses than to do what needed to be done. Because at the end of the day, we either do the thing or we make a bullshit excuse. And most of the time, we will make bullshit excuses for this reason, that reason, whatever reason. There are a lot of great excuses out there, but it comes down to do's and don'ts. That's all that matters at the very end. And I got tired of being a don'ter and wanted to be a doer. So quit the job, focused on the internal, on all of these things. And what I noticed was that once I finally dealt with myself, my inner issues, and started moving towards a place of fulfillment by moving towards my calling and my dream and my passion, I was at least moved into a space where the healing was potential. Now, I went through some periods in there that there was a lot of self sabotage because I had a fear of failure, I had a fear of success, and those required me to face a lot of personal demons and to go into a very dark place. But I did, and I fought my way out. And when I say fought my way out, it's not something that ever really ends. I'm going to have to fight those demons till the day that I die. But I found myself in the pursuit and in that battle getting stronger and stronger. And so now today where I am is I do still acknowledge that I'm going to continue having to fight those battles, but I do feel stronger. I do feel better. And I choose not to be medicated for the reason being that I personally feel that I was putting a Band-Aid on, and by medicating myself, I would continuously put a Band-Aid on, keep slapping a Band-Aid on. And what happens when you keep putting a Band-Aid on something? The wound never heals. So it kind of ties to my open wounds collection with the idea that sometimes you need to tear yourself open and expose your wounds so they can breathe and hopefully heal. And by continuously putting just a Band-Aid and slapping it on there, I was never allowing myself to heal from anything. I was just masking it, and not only was I masking it, but in taking those medications, I was then adding on a plethora of other side effects and whatnot. So I was creating additional issues for myself. And at some point, I just said, you know what? Whatever I am, I want to feel it. I want to feel these things so that I can deal with it, that I can get to the core of it, and I will accept being me as I am, and I will deal with these things. So, like, obviously, if you have certain medical conditions, like this is a different dialogue, different conversation. So, again, this is just a personal experience and me sharing my journey. It's not a reflection upon like if you have this or that. So, I'm not comparing or saying that you should do any of these things. I'm just sharing my thoughts and something that you can at least maybe consider if this would be something that would be helpful for you. So stop doing that. And then for a long time, I felt a certain way about therapy. I felt that if I had to go somewhere and I had to pay somebody to listen to me, that is doing this for a job, how invested are they really? Because if I stop paying them, they're not going to listen. And they're giving advice to a whole bunch of other people too. So on a subconscious level, like when it comes to me and my art, I remove myself from looking at other art when I am in the process of making art because I don't want them on a subconscious level to infiltrate my own thoughts and processes. And so if I'm talking to somebody that's getting paid to do this and they're talking to a bunch of other people, are they really invested in me? And it comes down to the idea of your own dream too. Nobody's ever going to be as interested or as invested in your dream as you are. Like you work for somebody else, their primary goal is their dream. Like you talk to somebody, and I'm not saying that there aren't altruistic people out there, but ultimately they're going to take care of themselves, and you're just kind of a job. And the idea, even for me on a subconscious level, that I was a job or somebody that was talking to them because they were getting compensated for it, that kind of, in a sense, removed the effectiveness for me. And when it comes to healing, a lot of it comes to how you feel about it. And so I recognize that, you know what, I'm going to have these therapy sessions with myself, the dialogue with myself. And if I'm going to talk to other people, I'm going to talk to people that I feel that I can really talk to, and people that care and people that know me and that understand me, so that there can actually be a deeper connection and a root to it, something that is substantial. So again, this isn't to say that you shouldn't go to therapy or whatnot. It's just something to think about for if it's working for you, because I think that we do look to the medications, we do look to the therapy, and we say, oh, well, I'm not getting better, or maybe I am getting better, or you know what, I'm starting to plateau. Maybe I need to up the dose. I need to do this or that. I just cut it all off. I haven't been to a doctor since 2015. I feel the best I've ever felt. Could I be dying? Yeah. But it's like I was saying, if there's a procedure that I need, well, guess what? I don't really have the resources to deal with it anyway. And so I would rather feel good right now in the best that I can than have the idea planted in my head that, oh, well, you're sick, you're dying, because I feel great. And if I keel over tomorrow, at least I can know that I live my best life. Now, I don't have kids, I don't have really a close family or anything like that. So my situation is slightly different. But I will say that just in moving towards my goals, towards my passion, towards my dream of being an artist and finding the release, the therapeutic release that I found much more medicinal than pharmacology, it's amazing. And I think that art, even if you don't want to be an artist, can be tremendously beneficial. And the expression, the release for you, if you can learn to let go, if you can work to letting go. And if you can do that, maybe you can release some of the tensions in the mind and the body that are somatically binding you up so that you can breathe. You can really fucking breathe for the first time and maybe start healing. Because I think that if you continue to throw that Band-Aid on, you might start to go under, and I don't want that for you, and so that's why I share my experience and my journey, and I hope that my unique journey may be able to help some people out there. But I can say that when you move in towards your calling, what you were put on this earth to do, it fills that gap in the puzzle in the sense that you feel complete, you feel good. And so maybe what's happening is that maybe you feel sick or you have these symptoms of something else because you know that there's this sense of being incomplete within you. Now, I'm always pushing and knowing that I can always be better. So, like, there's always something missing. I'm always trying to fill something. But at the same time, you can feel like you need to fill something while still feeling whole. And I feel the most whole I've ever felt in my entire life. So, the goal is to feel whole with the WH instead of just the H. So I'm curious what your thoughts may be on this and the route that you've gone, if you feel comfortable sharing. I know a lot of people don't want to share these things, and I know it's a sensitive topic. So again, I want to go back to the idea that I'm not telling anybody what they should do, and I'm not dismissing anybody. I'm just sharing my personal feelings. And a lot of times things go down and come down to how you feel about them. And if you feel uncomfortable going a certain route, but you're pushed into it, it may be more of an obstacle for you. You may be creating more barriers than channels that are being opened up for you. So if I can help you open up channels with new modes of thinking and thought processes, then I think that that's a wonderful thing. But I know that now, even though I have less money, even though I don't really have great medical coverage, even though I haven't been to a doctor in years, even though I can't afford to do a lot of things that I am told that I need to do, I feel the very best that I've ever felt because I am being me and I'm listening to my body and I'm listening to my mind and not what others are prescribing for me. So I just ask you to think for yourself and for what is best for you, not because other people tell you that it's best for you, but because in your gut, in your body, in your soul, you feel that it's best for you. And I want to open up the possibility that maybe art, maybe the pursuit of your dream could be the thing that truly heals you and makes you feel better, makes you feel whole, and that moves you into an entirely new state of being. So just something to think about. Share your thoughts, share your comments. I will see you next time. Have a great day.